What sport are we training this athlete for? What is their position? What type of adaptations are we looking for? We're going to be dealing with two guys at the end of the day. We're going to be dealing with somebody who's either very strong and is not as fast, or we're going to be dealing with somebody who's very fast and is not as strong. So this is where we implement the tool like the force velocity curve example into our training. So I'm going to make an entire separate video explaining the force velocity curve, but you can see here at the top of the curve we have maximal strength, which would be somebody who's very good at producing a lot of force. So for example, someone like a power lifter. At the bottom of the force velocity curve we have speed, or someone who's very fast, maybe like a 100-meter sprinter, for example. When you are a 100-meter sprinter, you have to be able to produce a lot of force quickly, and this is where not only the force velocity curve comes into play, but where we start to look at things like rate of force development, for example. So if I was working with a 100-meter sprinter and we had some time in their off season, maybe we would initially start their program with a higher emphasis on strength and hypertrophy work, with less focus on their actual sprinting, but just enough to stay sharp, maybe once or twice a week, for example. And then as we get closer to competition, we would taper back the strength stuff and put a higher emphasis on the volume of doing the sprint work. So for a lot of people, they think, well, why would you train somebody who's already fast and put muscle on them? Isn't that going to make them slower? Not necessarily, no. If it's done correctly and you make that athlete stronger, they are able to produce more force, and you're basically, as you increase their strength, you're raising their ceiling for the amount of force that they can produce, and the more force that they can produce, the faster that their time should be, and they should be able to run faster now that you've raised their ceiling of strength.